Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome one and all to the official grand opening of the Women's Art Club Cultural Center. Welcome to the members of the Boy Scout Troop 149, who provided 4 Eagle Scout projects for the Cultural Center. Will the Troop Color Guard please step forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Would you all please turn to face the flag and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless the United States of America, the wonderful state of Ohio, the village of Mariemont, and all who visit this special place. And God bless our children.
On behalf of the Women's Art Club Foundation and club members, Larry Magruder, the new president of the foundation, and I would like to thank you for coming to celebrate with us today. There are many people that should be thanked today. You are surrounded by many unsung heroes of this amazing project. Hundreds of people have given selflessly of their time, talent, and resources. First, we'd like to thank Mayor Dan Palacastro and the Village Council for voting to entrust a historic landmark to us. We are grateful to Carl Lindner Jr., whose generous gift saved the building from destruction. We'd also like to thank the Mariemont Preservation Foundation, who encouraged and promoted this project. And at this time, I'd like to ask Mayor Dan Palacastro to come forward and make a few remarks, and he will be followed by David Zach, President of Mariemont Preservation Foundation.
Why don't you stay up here, Jane? Thank you, Jane. I have some hardware here that I want to put down real quick. I want to welcome everyone to the Village of Mariemont. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank this wonderful art club for what they've done for our village. I was told I only have 2 minutes to talk, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. But it was a long haul to get this dream come true. And I have to say, we were probably about a week from bulldozing this thing over. It's just unbelievable. And Jane just took the bull by the horns and really found a way to save this wonderful building. But like I said, I don't have much time, but the first thing I want to do is, today is Women's Art Club Day in Mariemont, and I have a proclamation I'd like to read. From the office of the mayor, whereas the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati was founded in 1892 and is the oldest existing women's art club operating without interruption in the United States. And whereas the club was formed to stimulate its members to greater effort in their work and to increase general interest in art. And whereas the members established an annual juried exhibit, as well as scholarship, and several awards and gifts as ways of keeping with objective of fostering the visual arts. And whereas today's members host lectures, demonstrations, field trips, critiques, and lessons, and expanded their mission to include providing a forum to promote the visual arts by way of creative activities for children and adults. And whereas, when they were looking for a new place to call home, the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati acquired the historic Rest Haven Barn in 2007, transforming the old building into a beautiful studio and cultural center being dedicated here today, thereby saving this important historic structure and bringing a new purpose to a piece of history that otherwise would have been lost. Now, therefore, I, Dan Policastro, Mayor of the Village of Mariemont, Ohio, hereby proclaim September 19th, 2009 as Women's Art Club of Cincinnati Day in the Village of Mariemont, and encourage all citizens and visitors to the community to join in this special recognition, and in thanking the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati for saving the Rest Haven Barn. Thank you. Jane, I'll give this to you. And as I always do, I have another one, because tomorrow, not today, tomorrow is going to be Jane McDonald Day in the Village of Mariemont. But I've got another one here to read, so I'll get with it. Whereas Jane McDonald has been a resident of the Village of Mariemont for 29 years. Whereas throughout those many years, Mrs. McDonald has given freely of her time, her energy, and her knowledge to the Village of Mariemont as a member of the Mariemont Garden Club, the Park Advisory Board, the Mariemont Civic Association. I could go on for many more, but we didn't have much room in here, so that's it on that. Served as a trustee for the Mariemont Preservation Foundation. And whereas Mrs. McDonald was instrumental in planning the Murray Avenue entrance to the village, and whereas was a driving force behind the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati acquiring the Rest Haven Barn. And whereas Mrs. McDonald left no stone unturned when it came to finding grants and other funding for the art club to restore the Rest Haven Barn, making it one of Mariemont's most impressive and beautiful historic buildings and saving it from being destroyed. Now, therefore, I, Dan Policastro, Mayor of the Village of Mariemont, Ohio, do hereby proclaim September 20th, tomorrow, so if you see Jane, congratulate her tomorrow, as Jane McDonald Day in the Village of Mariemont. Again, thank you. I know I took too much of my time, but thank you, and Jane. That's yours.
All right, Jane.
Thank you.
Okay.
I wonder if I still have to cook breakfast in the Wow. I'm almost speechless. But those of you who know me know that's impossible. Well, this project was only a dream until we hired an architect who expressed a real heart for this project. John Greer worked tirelessly to maintain the integrity of the historic property and adapt it for reuse. Is John here? I think he's coming to join the festivities later. We could not have been more fortunate in our selection of the Hudipole Construction Company as contractor. They have done an amazing job converting a dilapidated barn into an award-winning cultural center. Steve and Walt Hudipole, are you here? They'll be here later, and we hope that they will take a bow when they come. Bruce Neville is unable to be here, but he is here in spirit. Bruce Neville is an architect and an artist who is responsible for the interior finishes and the lighting and color scheme of the interior. He has given hundreds of hours of volunteer work on this project and provided a lasting gift. Now I would like to invite the president of the Mariemont Preservation Foundation to
Okay,
come.
let me get up there real quick. Sorry I'm back again, but we have a little problem. Someone is blocking a driveway, a Lexus, license plate DJ25PA. If you'd please move your car. I don't see anybody moving. Where is it? Oh, right over
I
there?
think it's back over this way.
Okay, down that way?
No, it's trying to get out of their drive, and they don't have clearance.
DJ25PA. But we'll go on, and I'll take care of it. That's my job.
You get a ticket, the mayor will take care of it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is a pleasure and honor to be here today. The Mariemont Preservation Foundation, like many others, saw a future for the Rest Haven Barn building in our community. Today, it's been beautifully repurposed and refurbished, and it continues to improve with age, as evidenced by its appearance today. Mariemont Preservation's support for the revitalization of this building has resulted in 3 prominent recognitions for the Women's Art Club and Rest Haven Barn, and I'd like to briefly mention them today. First, the Heritage Ohio 2009 Annual Award has recognized Rest Haven as a Best Top Opportunity Success. In 2007, the barn was named to the Top 10 Opportunities list, which is a statewide list drawing attention to buildings that are underutilized or awaiting redevelopment. This award recognizes the successful survival of the barn and its reuse. Second, we recently learned that the 2009 Ohio Historic Preservation Office Award from the Ohio Historical Society was received. This is for the rehabilitation and use of the 1924 Rest Haven Barn as the cultural center today. A ceremony will be held at the Ohio Historical Society next month to recognize this achievement. Finally, the 2008 Griffin Yateman Historical Achievement Award has been given by the Hamilton County Recorder's Office, and you'll hear more about that in a moment. I would like to close by mentioning an individual who played a key role in the nomination process for these awards, Janet Setchell, MPF's Executive Secretary. Janet, if you're out there, I believe you are. You want to step forward? She detailed the rehabilitation process and efforts of the Women's Art Club for each of these awards, and that's a tough, time-consuming job. Anyway, Janet, I want to thank you for all of your efforts. Appreciate it. And I want to turn it over now to Wayne Coates from the Hamilton County Recorder's Office.
Good afternoon. It looks like it's a day of many awards. The current president of the Women's Art Council. I'm sorry, the Women's Art Council president.
Jan?
Boom.
You want the foundation president?
Yes.
Larry?
Larry's the
Well,
president.
actually, both.
That's foundation.
All right, and Jan Boone?
It looks like both of them have asked me, so I don't know which one is which.
Art Club and Foundation.
Right. Both, please. This is the Griffin Yeatman Award from the Hamilton County Recorder's Office, and I'll read it if you bear with me. Whereas the Hamilton County Recorder's Office created the Griffin Yeatman Award as an annual award and is presented for excellence in historic preservation efforts and achievements that have contributed to the preservation of buildings, sites, structures, research, and documents concerning the history of Hamilton County. Whereas the historic Rest Haven Barn Group was built in 1924 and designed by New York architect Hubert Reeves as part of Mariemont's benefactor Mary Emery's vision of a retirement community, and John Nolan designed for the village of Mariemont. And whereas the Rest Haven Barn was originally situated on 26 acres and was part of the model farm and dairy that was operated by the Lindler Quality Milk Company, later to become United Dairy Farmer. And whereas in 1940 the farm ceased the operation and the village of Mariemont took over the building to accommodate the village maintenance department and offices until relocating operations in 2005, leaving the barn empty and under threat of demolition. Whereas the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati, founded in 1892, was looking for a gallery space and headquarters and recognized the possibility of converting the barn into the art center with a permanent gallery, artists, studios, and classrooms. And whereas the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati purchased the vacant and dilapidated historic Rest Haven Barn in April 2006 and embarked on an aggressive fundraising campaign that included registering as a 501c3 nonprofit organization and applying for state grants through the Cultural Facilities Commission. And whereas the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati painstakingly restored the Rest Haven Barn in consultation with the Ohio Preservation Association to become the Women's Art Club Cultural Center. whilst maintaining the historic integrity of the building. And whereas the Mariemont Preservation Foundation nominated the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati for the Griffin Yeatman Historical Achievement Award, and now therefore I, Wayne Coates, do hereby recognize and honor the countless hours of outstanding and loyal and dedicated community service unselfishly given by the Women's Art Club of Cincinnati for the restoration, preservation, and maintenance stewardship of this historic site.
Wait a minute, Jane.
I didn't get on the program, but as president of the foundation, we just want to thank Jane for everything she has done.
I'm not sure we have money for this gift, Larry. I might have to return this. Thank you very, very much. Phase 1 was completed in April 2008, and Phase 2 funding posed an insurmountable challenge. That is, until we contacted our district representative, state representative, Michelle Schneider. She came to see the barn, and she agreed to represent us in Columbus, making no promises. Michelle fought hard to bring back funds from the capital spending bill to our district. And thanks to Michelle's efforts, we were awarded a generous grant of $220,000 through the Cultural Facilities Commission. That completed the East Wing. Thank you, Michelle, for the outstanding job you did, not only for this project, but for your district. And I'd like for you to come and say a few words.
Jane, thank you so much for those kind words. I want you to know that when well, first of all, I want to recognize former Representative Tom Brinkman Jr. Tom, come up here. Because Tom Brinkman Jr. was also on the committee where we formed a committee. The capital budget for the state of Ohio happens every 2 years, and it's approximately $100 million. And it goes to projects for bricks and mortar capital. $100 million for the entire state. Our area of the state gets approximately $20 million. As you can imagine, we were inundated with requests. We formed a committee, which unfortunately for me, I was the chair of. And that was only because I was the majority whip at the time. And Tom also served on that committee, as did all the other representatives and senators from this greater Cincinnati area. We had to evaluate the projects. The Chamber of Commerce helped us with that. And then we decided, after the Chamber gave their recommendations, that we wanted to, as a representative and senators for this district of Greater Cincinnati, to evaluate and listen to presentations from those that really wanted to participate and get a grant under the capital budget. So for 2 days, we sat in chambers at Madera City Hall, and we listened to presentations. And these presentations were from 40 different projects. And let me tell you who the competition was. Jane, you probably don't even know this, but you probably do because you're on top of everything. I've noticed that. But your competition was the stadiums, the Riverfront Park, the Underground Freedom Center, help me out here, Tom, the zoo, Union Terminal, and numerous other projects, 40 of them. And we had, $100 million in requests. In these 40 projects, we had $100 million in requests, and we had to whittle that down to about 20 million. I think we finally submitted like 18 million, didn't we? 18 million. And it was a very difficult process. But I'll never forget, Jane came in with Jan Boone and Cookie Thier, and practically all the other women of the art club, and sat in Madeira chambers and came in mass. They didn't have a lobbyist. Most of these other groups have lobbyists that they pay a lot of money to. Your lobbyist was this woman sitting right here, and Cookie. And they gave us a presentation, and they just had so much passion about this project. And Tom and I had both been here to see the project, and I have to tell you, I thought they had a tiger by the tail. It was dilapidated, the floor was earthen, this beautiful concrete wasn't here, it was all gravel, it wasn't even that nice a gravel. And they brought us in, and we were looking at a dilapidated barn, and Jane was saying, oh, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, and it's gonna be this beautiful, and come upstairs to these little stairs that were about this wide. And I said, Jane, that's okay, I don't need to go up there. And she goes, oh, no, come. And I'm like, Jane, I don't think I can make it up those little stairs. She goes, Michelle, we had a 90-year-old woman up those stairs. I think you can make it. So needless to say, I went up the stairs, and we saw this barn from top to bottom. There was so much passion, so much commitment from the community. And not only that, but they had gone out and they had raised money privately. So with all of that said, and when we got down to the real negotiations of who do we give this money to, this beautiful barn that this community has embraced was right there at the top of our list. And we are, today, looking at this gorgeous barn and what you've done with it and how the community uses it, we're proud. We're proud of our decision.
All that metal around your neck is causing that, Michelle. Really, I think that the people you can thank for this is the people who voted for term limits. Because in Ohio, we followed the same process year after year, which was give the money to the top people and they just distributed it. But when term limits came in, and Michelle and I are both children of term limits coming in 2001, we said we want to do it different. We want to let all the groups apply and let everyone do it and not just have the chamber give us a list and say, here it is, we want this, and the lobbyists all want that. So we did go through a process that was time consuming out there in the friendly place of Madeira. And it was interesting because one lobbyist came up to me and said, you can't give them any money. And I said, why not? Well, they're a bunch of sexists. It's the women's art club. They don't let men in there. And I mean, that they would try anything to make sure that these little groups don't get it. But we knew that this was a viable project and it was very important. And so we tried to change it, and it was really just the Hamilton County legislators meeting. I think we're the only one in the state that does it this way. Yes. And I hope they continue it as they move on, because I'm no longer there, and hopefully the next group will come along and do that kind of for the proletariat and let the masses come in and come up with some good ideas. And I'll say one final thing. I remember Cookie called me up and she said, what do we do? How do we make sure we get this money? I said, just come in, have a big poster. I hope you still have that poster. Okay, it's over there, okay. And just say what you want and say, this is what we want. We don't want any more. We're not going to keep on coming back. Just give us this and we'll do it. And that made such an impression upon our other representatives there, because usually everybody says, come, well, we need this year, we need this year, we need this year. And, you know, we didn't want to hear that. We want something where we can show that something gets done. So you're all to be congratulated for that, and it's a great project, and thank you for including me.
What Tom did not tell you was that the mayor showed up with one of the MPF t-shirts on that says "Get Behind the Barn," and he literally took it off and handed it to one of the representatives who accepted the t-shirt, and I think that was the winning vote for us. So we did everything, including take the shirt off of our back. Well, there is a name that is associated with improving the quality of life in our region by encouraging art and culture. The gifts of his family foundation are too numerous to mention, but it was no surprise when the governor appointed Otto Buddig Jr. to be chairman of the Cultural Facilities Commission of Ohio. And we are honored to have Otto Buddig with us today, who will eventually be cutting our ribbon. But I'd like for him to come up and say a few words. Thank you for all of you.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a moment more of your time. The restoration of the Rest Haven Barn, built in 1923, and its conversion to a cultural center represents a magnificent effort not only to rescue an important and beautiful building, but a tremendous accomplishment by the Women's Art Club. I think a few words, and this is, I hope you all can hear me, a few words about the cultural facilities, thank you, commission is necessary. Representative Brinkman and Michelle talked about term limits, but the work of the Ohio Cultural Facilities Commission transcends term limits. Michelle was talking about the contributions that the legislature provides each 2 years for doing something that I don't think any other state in the union does. The legislature provides significant funds for projects like this throughout the state every 2 years. And over the last number of years, the legislatures have provided well over $500 million to the state for these kinds of projects. And although they are to be congratulated, the journey doesn't end there. These overtures, through a competitive process, these decisions of the legislators then come to the Ohio Cultural Facilities Commission, where any number of administrative and fiscal responsibilities have to be not only maintained, but have to be proven to the commission before those funds are provided. I can assure you that Jane and her team, when they appeared before the Cultural Facilities Commission, were well prepared, and there was absolutely no question of the validity of their purpose and the validity of their request, and it was immediately granted. So indeed, while the Ohio Cultural Facilities Commission, and I'm pleased to be the chair because it is an important group of people in the state, they're responsible for seeing that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. But in the end, you have your legislators to thank for this remarkable project, and they are to be congratulated. All we are is the messenger, but happily so. Thank you so much.
As the Buddigs make their way to the door, I'd like to call to your attention 2 ladies that will be at the door as greeters. They are the past president of the Art Club of Cincinnati, Ann Arnold, and the current president, Jan Boone. And these 2 ladies have led by example and encouraged others to follow. Let's give these 2 ladies a big hand. And their husbands, their supportive husbands, George and Tim. And after a Kodak moment that we have been long awaiting, Yes. The barn is officially open. The Lindner family, the UDF family, has kindly provided ice cream for those of you who are not attending or who would like to remain out and chat with neighbors. Please go over to the tent, help yourself. It's compliments of Robert Lindner and his family. And hope those of you who are coming to the fundraiser will have a wonderful time and enjoy the celebration. The entire building is open for your enjoyment. Thank you.
Very neat. Very, very neat. Really appreciate it. Are you staying here? I know, I hope they did either. I think I'll be we'll find something to make our money. I brought you. No, I wasn't sure for like, we'll find out.